Hey there, Rebus Forever here. This will be a bit different since Copper has gotten in the way of doing some of my other projects. The Not Just a Toy channel is looking a bit dubious right now. So I thought I'd branch out a little bit here. So yeah, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This isn't exactly a first impression. I'm not nearly far enough in to give that sort of opinion as of yet. I'm honestly not even sure that Star Wars is the right place for this sort of game. The death mechanic with respawning baddies might make some sense in a Dark Souls game, but in a Star Wars setting I'm confused as to why things respawn, confused why you need to lose XP between deaths, and confused by that XP being tied to the enemy that killed you. My explanation to justify these mechanics being in a Star Wars game has been to decide that almost all of the gameplay is in fact inside my little Hayden Christensen looking fella's head, and he's doing a battle meditation and then committing to the path that succeeds. Had the writers thought of this and integrated it into the game, probably could have justified the Dark Soulsiness a bit more logically. Also the maps. The difference between the environments in the original films and those in the prequels for me is sanity. The original films had a lived-in, worn, practical, or utilitarian feel. The prequels had countless illogical manufacturing facilities with Acme conveyor belts all over the place. There were a couple of scenes that were a bit like if Wile E. Coyote played Factorio on bath salts, with absurd environments designed to serve the needs of the excessive action scene rather than any sort of logical integrity. The lava planet that turned the genesis of Vader into a 15-minute wacky roller coaster ride for the whole family, rather than a tense, somber, almost reluctant clash between former pupil and lifelong friend and father figure, as the scene should have been, was a great disappointment for me. Seeing them jump around like Looney Tunes, just totally whacking the shit out of one another, did not for me leave the emotional impact that I thought it should have. Anywho, my point was the environments. From what I've seen so far, Fallen Order borrows from the prequels, insofar as its maps defy common sense. The early map sees you exploring the ruins of an ancient civilization that I can only assume died out on account of its civilians, deciding that going extinct was the better option than living with having to navigate their way around town. The maps I've seen do not feel very Star Wars. That aside, I think I'm going to owe this game a debt of thanks once I have finished it. I own a number of Dark Souls-like games. I love the aesthetic, being a bit of a goth. I've always felt that I probably should have played the arse off of the Souls games. However, I was put off playing them by two factors. My rejection of get good culture, that was ever so prevalent when the Souls games were new, and my total lack of understanding of the game's core mechanics, which is quite a biggie. Needing to camp at fires and all the faff with souls and ether, in all honesty, generally not understanding anything. All the way up to how to actually play a game like Dark Souls. Things like choosing your path, avoiding some enemies until you're ready, all of that jazz. The thing Star Wars Falling Jedis has done for me has been to give me a safe and familiar setting and body of lore so I can focus on understanding the mechanics. Just like the previous game I looked at, Mindustry, Nanu, has made me feel more capable of taking on Factorio, Star Wars Fallen Odo has made me feel a lot more likely to give the Dark Souls games another go. So, if you have been trying to get a buddy to play Dark Souls, or you know someone who wrote them off for whatever reason but enjoys Star Wars, this could be the gateway game to lure them onto the hard stuff you or they have been waiting for. Or perhaps like me, whenever you see screenshots from Dark Souls or Bloodborne, your heart does a tiny little flutter, but you haven't been able to get to grips with the game. Maybe consider playing Star Wars Jedi Coniferous Border. Get your bearings, and then reconsider approaching those other games. I mean, assuming you've got a spare 50 quid lying around, which on that note, thanks to the person that gifted me this. I wouldn't be playing it without your help. So, I don't usually do this. Self-promotion makes my skin crawl, but here goes. If you like my stuff, like, sub, share, maybe watch more stuff. I mean, surely you know how YouTube works. But these things do help a lot, and apparently pointing these things out has a positive impact. If you are one of the few who watches my stuff consistently, perhaps consider supporting the channel on Patreon, or joining the Discord. Thanks for watching, and toodle pip. I guess that wasn't too hard. So yeah, Star Wars Fallen Jedi blah blah blah.